So, if you've seen this video of this hyper-realistic video of Jesus and his photograph, I'll just tell you how it was done. I used AI to clean up the image, enhance the image and everything. The only thing that's been added is the colour, and also the white parts is actually blood on the cloth. I didn't quite catch all of it, but that's why I've coloured it in red. So I've coloured that bit in red. I've added the eyes, and I've added the crown of thorns above, which were more like a cap of thorns because there were quite a lot of puncture marks all over his head. It just wasn't in one particular place, so it were all over his head, so it were puncture marks everywhere. The crown of thorns on the head is actually from a thorny bush in Israel called Undulea Torniforte, which blossoms in the spring, evidently, but it is actually found on the Turin Shroud head. The pollen is found from that plant around the head, and also on the shoulder. I believe they've found a petal on the shoulder. I think, don't quote me on it, but I know they've found something on the shoulder belonging to that plant. So that's even more evidence. So this is probably the real face of Christ as you're looking at it. Something I've noticed as the image has been enhanced as well is you can visibly see the swelling on the right cheek. That's on our left. Probably more blood marks there, but I didn't want to cover the entire face with blood, even though it would have. But you can see all the eyebrows would have been all blooded as well. And the reason why it's a white colour is because it's on the surface of the cloth. So it's on the base. On the cloth itself, and then the image came after the blood was transferred. You can clearly see that the beard has been pulled out as the Gospel recorded it, and the actual eye to the left eye, which is to our right, is actually blackened. I think that was a black eye, and probably the right eye would have also been half shut as well because of the swelling there to the cheek. The nose is somewhat could have been dislocated or some sort of swelling to the nose. The beard is full of blood. I've not put much blood on it, but there would have been blood all the way through his beard and also his hair as well. You can see the white marks. I tried to colour them in red. Yeah, so the hyper-realistic nature of this shows that an artist hasn't done it. Also, if an artist had actually done this, I don't know how they'd do it like that. Any brush marks? Must have been, must have changed into Ant-Man or something and gone really small and started doing dots on the fibrils, but leaving no trace of any chemical or anything. That's impossible. But let's suppose an artist could do this. First of all, they'd have to do this image, this realistic face-like photograph, in a negative, not the positive. So this is, you're looking at the positive now, but it would have been in a negative. So you just can't get your head around it. There's no way this is a fake. So it is someone. Now the body is actually anatomically perfect as well. Coming from pathologists and the science that's done on the shroud. So this is likely Jesus Christ, and I know it's not mentioned much in the Gospels. There are a few passages that do seem to allude to it, so to speak. I think we'll look into that on another video another day. I think I've done a video on that actually, so if you want to check out the other videos, you can do. I think I've spoke about the Gospels. Now, there was actually a word that probably were invented by the Apostle Paul to actually call it the shroud, and it's a word only used by deacons and bishops after the Apostle Paul, so it's likely that the Apostle Paul made it up, but the actual word doesn't actually exist anywhere in historic Greek, but it's a Greek word. So I think that's the Turin Shroud, but that's not on another video we'll do. But the great thing about this is I think it is Jesus. I'm pretty much 95% sure, probably, yeah, about 95% sure. And even if it wasn't Jesus, which it most likely is, but even if it wasn't, then the man who went through this went through exactly what Jesus went through. So I think we should give them credit at least, and just be intrigued by the image, because we have nothing like it in history. There's nothing like it today, and it's just incredible. The detail that this image brings, and the realistic nature of it, it's just too good to, I'm going to say too good to be true, but it is true. It does exist, so, and science can't explain it. So the only thing we're left with is that this is Christ, and at his resurrection somehow transferred that image onto the cloth, some sort of unnatural light or radiation, and burnt it on there. And the Gospels don't mention it much, because if they had have, everyone would have been looking for this cloth, including, well, the Knights Templar did actually get hold of it, but they kept it safe, so that's a good thing. But I mean, if like the Jews got hold of it, or the Pharisees or something like that, they would have destroyed it indefinitely, or the Romans. But it just gives testimony to exactly what Jesus went through for us, and what he went through for me and for you, and for all who will come to know him and believe in him. And that's all we have to do, is call upon the name of the Lord, and you shall be saved. Some of the objections we get from Christians, and I'm a Christian, is that the image itself, we should not worship images, and it breaks the first and second commandment, you know. But that's only if we worship this image. I mean, God has given signs in the past and images. He gave Moses and the Israelites, he gave them a snake on a pole to represent, and that actually was a foreshadow of Jesus on the cross, and anyone who looked at it was healed. You know, that's an image, that's a symbol of the power of God. Now, that's what we should see this as, a symbol of the power of God. It isn't Christ, it's a cloth. It's got his image on it, but there's nothing, it's not actually his physical manifestation apart from his blood that is on the cloth, which is all it. But you can't worship blood, you know what I mean? So we don't worship blood or anything like that, we worship Christ, and that's how we come to this cloth. We just look at it with intrigue, and we can also, you know, imagine it in his heads. I suppose people always imagine what Jesus looks like in their head, and we can pray, and we can speak to Christ and pray to God. But the good thing is, this could be the face of God. So, you know, God always said that we'd never see his face, and anyone who saw his face would not live. But he's given us the opportunity so Jesus came to the earth, and we saw the face of God.